Perfect. Thank you so much, guys, for joining. So today we are going to see different topics. The first one is writing functions that have local variables. So we are going to answer two of the DataWeave interview questions using functions. So we have this DataWeave interview questions. Please go over the slides again and again, do it multiple times so that you master it. When you do one question, it helps you to to do another also. It widens your understanding. So we are going to answer this question and this question. Let's start with today's question. So today's question, it says, as you can see, let me make this full screen for now. So the question is, given two arrays below, we have two arrays, V1 and V2. Here we are declaring them as variables in the header. And the question is to find common values in the two arrays and also values that are found only in one of them. So we can use in the hint, as you can see here, we can use filter and containers, or we can use the double dash, which is easier. So let's just do with the double dash today in this class to save time, because our intention is mainly to write functions with local variables. You can also try with filter and containers. I will share my answers with filter and containers in the Telegram group. Okay, so let's go to DataWeave Playground. I will minimize this and remove this here. So I have DataWeave Playground here, and let me increase the font. I hope you are able to see this. 150 should be enough, I guess. So after this class, if you want to read in detail about functions that have local variables, under tutorials, it is under section 6.1 here. Under 6.1, like down on the page here, there is what is called scoping. So we will see what scoping is and how to answer the question we have today's DataWeave interview question. Okay, so V1 containers, let me move this slide to my other screen so that I can see it. And so let's define the variables first. V1 containers 2, 3, 8, 7, and 10, 15. So it is an array of these values. We have another variable V2. It contains 4, 7, 3, 25, and minus 10. And the question, find common values and values that are found in either of them only. So we will see we'll answer this without creating function and also function with local variables. But for you, I'm just showing you here on the DataWeave Playground so that you can see, I can easily increase the font. But for you, it is good if you have a project in any point studio so that you can save it and come back another time to it and do it again, study it. So I have it here. So just drag and drop the transform message like what we have been doing, and then you save it. Next time you will get it. But if you do it in the DataWeave Playground, as you know, it will be lost once you refresh your page. Okay. So the first thing, okay, let's create variables now. First, I will create var V1 only. So these are values that are found in V1. It is just easy. Like as we use double plus for concatenation, we use double minus to remove values that are found in the second array. So V1 minus minus V2 minus, it removes any value that is found in V2 from V1. You can see this from the documentation under the core module. You don't need to import anything. So under the core module here, if you expand this, CB now, if you can admit the slide. Okay. So we have here double dash. So we are using this double dash to remove values that are found in V2. So V1 minus V double minus V2, I am calling it var V1 only. I can just see the value here. So V1 double minus V2, what has been removed from V1, which values are common? 3 and 7 have been removed, as you can see. 3 and 7 are not here. 2 is available, 2 is found only in V1. 8 is also found in V1. 10 and 15 are also found in V1. As easy as that. And also let's create V2 only. So there are multiple ways of doing this, by the way. You can get like what is shared as one, you did it multiple ways. So there are multiple ways. We are just doing it one way. So V2 for values that are found in V2 only also, we can do V2 just minus double dash V1. And if I just display the values, this will give me the values that are found in V2, but not in V1. 4 is not found in V1. 7 is found in V1, 3 is found in V1, 25 is not found in V1, and negative 10, as you can see. Now, let's find common values. Var common, this one. So let's see. Set theory from math in high school? This one. So let me show you an image. A simpler one. Which one is better? Let me see. Here, this one is good. So, and I'll bring my annotation. Okay. This working? Okay. See, now what we are doing is, consider we have two arrays, A and B, right? Two arrays, A and B. Now what we found are, V1 only means just found only in V1, so it is this one, the difference. And if you have the difference, to get the common, which is this region, this part, A minus the difference, A, and everything in A, from everything in A, if you remove this part, you will get the common one. From A, if you remove this part, you will get this part, which is common to both of them. And since we have found values that are found only in V1, now V1 minus V1 only is going to give us this common part. Let me show you in here. If you come here, so if I do V1 minus, I mean remove from V1 this one, it is going to give me the common ones. What are the common elements here? We have 3 and 7. So if I do common, bring it here, it is going to show me 3 and 7. Not only with V1, I can also get it using V2. This also should give the same. V2 minus V2 only. It is the same. That was the second approach. We are coming from the right rather than, so in here, rather than using A, what we are doing is this from B. If I remove this part from B, I will be left with this part, and that is a common one between A and B. So you can find is either way, either from the left or from the right. So you can check this one also should give us 3 and 7. If I just bring it here, it will show me 3 and 7. Now we can create a final answer just to make it like the output in the slide. So I will declare another variable final answer. create an object, then new line, v1 only, just v1 only, and v2 only, also v2 only, like this. Comment the same way, comment key value. I'm putting key values here. Let's see what the problem is. Okay. Oh yeah, final answer. I have to put final answer. That it is saying because it is showing an error on the output section because we don't have anything in the body. So I will put this here. But we also want values that are found in either of them. Values that are found in either of them means this one, as you can see. You see this region and this region. In our case, it means v1 only, concatenate to that, v2 only. So I can do here, define another variable called var in either of them, simply v1 only, concatenated with v2 only. And then either of them also I put it as key value pairs here. Like this. So these are the keys on the left, as you can see, whereas these ones are the values. We get them from these variables. So on the output on the right, as you can see, I have values that are found in v1 only, in v2 only, comment both of them, and values that are found in either of them. And usually, rather than writing such kind of long code, especially if we are going to use it again and again, rather than doing like that, it is better to create a function. So the function becomes usable again and again. We don't need to modify anything in the code, but rather only the input to the function. So let's change this to a function. So to change this to a function, we are going to use, we are going to create local variables inside the function. How do we do that? Let's see. So here, functions always start, as variables start with var, functions start with fun. So fun, then let me call it common difference. It will give us the common and the difference of two arrays, array 1 and array 2. I'm calling them the inputs. These are the inputs. So array 1 and array 2, or we can call them v1 and v2. I guess, yeah, let's call them v1 for array 1, just to make it shorter, v2 for array 2, so that I don't spend time modifying this. Okay, then equals to, now we can use variables inside the functions themselves, but we have, these variables are local variables. Before this, actually, let me comment this out, and first let's write a simple function, and then we are going to compare what the difference is, and I will collapse this. So a function, we said we define it using fun. So okay, fun, let's say add my numbers. Add my numbers a comma b, and let me collapse this so that you can see it. So add my numbers a comma b, then a plus b. So this is a function we are creating, a simple function. It takes two numbers and it gives you the sum of the two numbers. Now I can do add my numbers 4 and 5, it gives me 9. 40 and 50, it is going to give me 90, as you can see here on the right. Negative 40 and 50, 10, and so on. This is a simple function. Now, this writing such kind of functions we have seen before, we have done it multiple times. What is different that we are seeing today, what we are adding to that is, what if we want to create variables inside the functions, local variables? So to do that, I will uncomment this. So to do that, to make to add local variables, first we use this keyword do, followed by forward slash, do forward slash. Now we can create local variables. These variables are accessible only to the function. So V1 and V2 already, I don't need to define them now because they will be inputs to the function. So let me remove this. Now, inside this function also, we will have header and body. So generally in the DataWeave, by default, DataWeave Playground, we say we have header and body, right? This anything above the 3 dashes is the header, below it is the body. Variables and functions, we declare them in the header. When we create local functions also, there is the same thing. These variables inside the function, they will be in the header section. So what this means is we add another 3 dashes here. And our output, the function returns, will be in the body part of the function. The body part of the function is simply below these 3 dashes in the function. So if I do this now, this one I don't need. Okay, yeah. So these brackets are just to return an object, this object, but I have this do with a curly bracket. I have to close that bracket. If I do like this, and now remove this, I don't need that. Now I have a function that uses local variables. As you can see, let me remove this to make it neat. So V1 and V2 will be input to the function. And here's the same calculation like what we did before. And here is what the function is going to return. This is what the function is going to give us. Inside the function, the local variables are inside in the header section. They are local variables. And this is called scoping. Scope means like what is the scope of these variables? Their scope is to this function only. They are local. Scope means their accessibility. It can be local or it can be global, for example. So you can read in the tutorial part where were we? In again 6.1 or 6, yeah, here, and the named function is down here. That's what they are doing. Where is it? Yeah, in here. Let's see. You can see it here. We have 3 dashes here for the function, another 3 dash here for the header section, global header section. So now let's check our, let's use our function and check it. So common values, my first array, let's say 1, 2, 3. My second array, let's say 3, 4, for example. So it gives me 1 and 2 are found only in V1. As you can see, the result on the right. 4 is found only in V2. Yes, it does. The common one is 3. And in either of them, we have 1, 2, 3. So this is how we can create a function. Now, let me change it. If I just make the same, for example, this one also I will make it 3, 4. V1 is empty, V2 is empty, common 3 and 4 because we have the same array. In either of them only, also nothing. Oh, this one I have title here. Yes, like this. So that answers our question. So this is like hitting 2 birds with 1 stone. We answered our DataWeave interview question of the day, and also we saw how to create local variables inside functions. So this way you can have any kind of complex code by creating. You can even call functions inside functions and have multiple local variables of different levels. Okay, let's answer this question also using the same way. This one, it says a composite number is a positive integer that can be formed by multiplying 2 smaller positive integers. Equivalently, it is a positive integer that has at least 1 divisor other than 1 in itself. I think this one is easier for understanding it. Let's focus on this part. So I will bring this and make the read. So a composite number, one thing, it is a positive integer. Second thing, it is divisible by at least 1 number which is not 1 in itself. If it is divisible only by 1 in itself, last time we did that, it is called a prime number. But if it is divisible by any other number greater than 1 and less than itself, then that number is a composite number. Let's check that. That is what we want to create. First, we'll just create an array to understand the question. And you answer it using variables and then change it to functions. The same like what we did to this question. So this one I will remove it. Question is, check if a given number is a composite number, and for composite numbers, it has to be a positive integer. It has to be greater than 2 in short. Oh, by the way, you can see also in Wikipedia they have here. So you see numbers, they are positive integers. They are either composite or prime or 1. So if it is not all composite, positive integers, if they are greater than 1, they are either composite or prime. You have 2 and 3 under prime, 4 under composite, 5 under prime, 6 under composite, 7 under prime, 8, 9, 10 under composite, and so on. So let's do that. So it has to be greater than 2. I know from here you can see it has to be greater than 2. It is good to put your criteria, constraints here. And it has to be also an integer, not decimals, not only greater than 2, but it has to be also an integer. It has to be greater than 2 and also an integer. So we'll check if it is an integer. Now let's create a variable. But let's say the given number, let's call it given number. And let's say, for example, I will put 91. Is this composite number? Is it divisible by any number? Any number between greater than 2 and less than 91? You can think in your head until we answer it programmatically. So the first thing we have to do is we create an array of numbers, from 2 to that number minus 1, because we said if it is composite, it should be divisible by any number, which is not itself and 1. If it is only itself and 1, it is prime. So I will create var array of numbers, this one, from 2 to given number minus 1, right? So this one, let me print it and show you. So we are creating an array here. As you can see, it started from 2, it should end at 90 here. So what we are doing is we are going to check one by one if 91 is divisible by any of these numbers, by any of them. If it is divisible by any of them, then it is a composite. Otherwise, it is not. Is what we want to answer. So for that, we have to calculate the remainder. When 91 is divisible by any of them, what is the remainder? If it is divisible by any of them, the remainder will be 0. So I will create another variable called remainders. So we can use map now, right? Because map, it iterates over each element of an array and it returns an array also. So array of numbers map, I can put simply what I can put is we have the modulo operator that we have seen before in the core module. It gives you the remainder when you divide one number by the other. So I use mod, as you can see here, this one, it gives you a remainder. The first input is the dividend and the second number is a divisor. So in our case, the dividend is this one, given number. And the divisor is this $sign. I didn't put a value index here. You can put value index if you want, or you can put just $sign, right? So you can see the remainders here. So 91, when it is divided, let's see, what do I see? Oh, yeah, I have to print the remainders in the body part still here. Okay. So 91 when divided by 2, no, it is clear. There is remainder of 1 by 3, 1 because 3 times 70 is 90, and so on and so on. You see here there is 0. And another 0 here. So 91 is composite. And I think there are 13 and 7. 13 times 7 is 91. 13 times 7. Yeah. So that is what we see here. So these are the remainders. Now what we want to check is, if there is a 0 here, that means it is composite. But if all of these remainders don't contain 0 at all, then that number is not composite. So we can use if logic here. So if the other thing is, we want to check if it is an integer. Under the core module, there is integer function that tells you if it is integer or not. It is this one. You don't need to import anything. Is integer. So I will use that. So come here. Let me show you. Is integer 45. You see it is true. Is integer 45.5 false. And if you have true or false, and if you want to negate them, you just add exclamation mark. So if it was true, it will be false. If it was false, it will be true. I can do like this. So this one, what I am saying is, if it is not integer, because I want to say if it is not integer, return not incorrect input. So I am using this negation for that purpose. So now let's put if given number should be positive. We say here it has to be greater than 2. So if given number is negative, I think 2 and 3, we don't want to call them incorrect inputs. They are just positive integers, but they are prime, not composite. So if given number less than 1, that means if it is less than 1, that means either it is not an integer or it is negative. If it is less than 1, or if it is not integer, if it is not integer, is integer. So if I put that like this, I can negate this. If it is not, so this line, what it is saying is, if it is not integer, or if it is less than 1, then it will return incorrect input. Oh, this one I have to assign it to a variable still because I'm in the header section, right? Var result. I'm calling it result. Okay. So if it is less than 1, or if it is not an integer, we don't talk about composite or not if it is not integer. So I'm calling it incorrect input. Now, and after if, we have else if remainders contain 0, if there is 0 in the remainders array, contains. So let me show you containers, what it does. Comment these and these. So you have this array 1 to 4, okay, 7. Then here, if I do containers 8, it returns false. 8 is not in that array. If I add containers 4, it will say true because 4 is in the array. So the remainders array, this one, we are checking if it has 0 inside it. So to do that, what we do is here, if remainder contains 0, it is composite number. Else, not composite number. Not a composite number. Can do like this. Now let's see what the error is. If given number less than, I don't need this. Okay, see here. Okay. So see the result. I will print result, not remainder, and the body type. Composite number, yes, 91 is composite number. So focus on this function. So I'm on this logic. We know if it is less than, actually we can do, yeah, if it is less than 1, it is not a positive integer. Or if it is greater than 1 also, if it is not an integer, the input, we are calling it incorrect input. Else, if the remainder contains the remainders array, if it contains 0, it is composite. Otherwise, if all of them, the remainders are non-zero, that means it is not a composite number. So 91 is composite, it says, and we saw the remainders contain 0. Let's try with another number that is not composite. 97. 97, not composite. Let's see the remainders. A remainder is when you divide 97 by all the numbers between 2 and 96. These are the remainders, and there is no 0 at all. Okay, perfect. Now let's change this to a function, and then we'll move to the next part. The same way, here the function can check if composite, then given number. So the given number, check it if it is composite. The same way we start with do to use local variables, and I don't need to declare given number here because we will just pass it to the function again and again, different numbers. Then you have this array from 2 to the given number. You have the remainders here. The result part, I don't want to define it. We don't define it as a variable, but rather in the body part of the function under these 3 dashes, and I remove the variable name here. So this will be what it will return. And this part, the function, I close it here because I have this do with this bracket, that bracket I have to close it. So this is my function. Now I can just call this function again and again with different numbers. Check composite, we checked 91, composite number. We checked 97, it was not composite number. Check negative 100, correct input. Check 8, composite number. Check 8.8, incorrect input. So this is how we write functions with local variables. That is our first point for today. Let me make sure I'm using my time appropriately. Oh, time flies. Okay. Okay, let's continue to the next part. The next part is very important, guys. Please pay attention. So joining arrays. We are going to see about joining arrays. Before I show you this one, let me show you the easier ones first. So today and tomorrow we are going to discuss about, so far we have been looking at using functions from the core module. Today we are going to start importing modulus function from the other modules. We will also see how to create our own module and import it. So there are 4 or 5 ways of importing a function or using function from the modulus. They are very intuitive. It's just common English. See this one. The first one, importing functions and modulus. Under it, if you want to import a specific function, how to import it? A specific function. Let me show you. You use the keyword import, followed by the function name you want to import. So I want to import a function called join. Then from, we have this from, import function name from, then the module. The modules that are provided, that come with the software, you import them like this. DW, core, arrays. You can see this. It may look overwhelming when you first see it, but actually, just in the documentation, it is like that. See here. So we are importing. Yeah, you see here on the left, you have this module, DW, core, arrays. And under it, if I expand it, okay, if I expand it and see, we have join. So I'm importing this function, as you can see. I'm importing join function from the array module. So how do I do it? Import function name from this module. And this module, if you see it, the join, you give it left array and the right array. It joins 2 arrays. You give it left array and the right array, and then you specify also on what keys you want to join it, and it gives you an output. Let's see here. Here it says joins two arrays of objects by a given ID criteria. There should be a given ID criteria that is common to both of them to join them. So join returns an array, all the left items merged by ID with any right items that exist. This is very common in SQL also. We are going to see it in SQL also to compare the results. So see this example here. Okay, yeah, this is another. So join, there is users array and then products array. From user, you want to use user.id. From product, you want to use product.owner ID. That means this owner ID in the product table and this ID in the user ID in the user table are the same. So let's see that example. We'll see that example here with our data from the W3 schools, the database that we created before. So that is one way, but we have multiple ways of importing. A couple of ways to import function from the other modules. If you want to import all functions without specifying the function name, you can put just asterisk. Import asterisk from, this one is still the same, like this, DW : arrays. So it will import all functions. You will get, that means you will get all these functions under that module. So it means it will import all of these functions, that is. But usually, if you don't need to use functions, you don't need to import them. You usually import only the functions we want to use. And another third way is you can also import just the module. Import DW : core : arrays. Now, to get the functions from arrays, you put arrays : function name. Then that, like for join, for example, if I say join, it doesn't know because I didn't just explicitly import functions or join. I just imported the module. So to use any function from that module, I access that function name by putting the module name followed by : then the function name. Okay, this one, just spend some time on it, practice, and since you see it multiple times, you will remember it. This one, one question, it is common in the certification, by the way, how do you import a function from the other modules? That it should be easy to remember since we will do more questions and practice with it. So now let's see joining. What does joining mean? How do we join data? Let's spend some time here. So I shared the W3 schools website on joiners today in the channel. I hope you read it. So there are different joiners. You can also now, if you didn't get time, still you can read it. There is joiners under joiners here. If you go, it says a join clause is used to combine rows from two or more tables based on a related column between them. It is the same as what we read in the DataWeave documentation. Like, for example, here, if we want to co-join this table and this table, you see there is customer ID common to both of them. So if we just join them, it is going to return. Here, the customer ID is 23777. Here, 123. So it is going to return only this return. And the columns you can combine from the two tables. You can return only the columns that you need. But actually, in this data, they are showing samples from each table, but it contains more tables. That's why the output, it will have more records. Okay. Here, first, down the page, you see the different types of joiners. We have inner join. You can simply say join or inner join. It is the same. It gives you common, those that are found in both of them. Left join, it gives you all the records from the left. And if there is a match also from table 2, from this table on the right. And there is right join also. It is just opposite of left join. In DataWeave, there is no right join. So if you see the DataWeave documentation, we have join, left join, and outer join. So there is no right join, but it is just reversing the order. If there is left join, if I exchange, if table 2, I put it here. If I put table 2 first, and then table 1, it is the same as the right join. And there is full outer join. Full outer join means everything, whether there is match between the two or not, just return the results. So let's see. First, I will spend some 5 minutes how to do that with SQL, and please spend time, understand this, then we'll do also with DataWeave. So from our classes in the SQL section, we saw how we write the queries. We didn't see joining. We just saw only select, from, where, group by, having, order by. So just to get from one table. Select, to select the data we want. From, we specify the table names. Where, to specify criteria, where, for example, country is the USA. Group by, it could be by age, by gender, by state, for aggregation. Then having, at the end, the aggregated result, to filter the aggregated result. Then you can order by, for example, age. It can be in ascending order or descending order. We spend quite some time practicing this, but we didn't see joins. Now let's see how we do joining. So very quickly, I have Workbench open. Let's see, we want to join customers. I'll remove this. So the W3 schools database, still I have it that we created in previous classes. If you don't have it, you can go ahead and still watch the videos and create it. It is in the course website. Under data, MySQL, we have, it is this one. If you just run this one in your Workbench, it is going to create the tables for you, the database for you. So I have here, so we want to join, let's see, it was customers and orders. Okay, one. It was here. Okay. Orders and customers, yes. So let's join that. So what this means is there is orders table and there is customers table. We want to know which customers ordered what. That's why we are joining it. So to do that, so we start with select. That's okay. I don't want to specify the column names for now. Then from orders, then join or inner join. Inner is optional. I can say simply join the next table name, which is customers. The next part is how do you want to join them? I want to join them. I specify there is this on. I have to put on. Then orders dot order ID equals to customers dot order ID. Now I can specify, I can select the columns I need from each one of them. Okay, from orders there is okay. Okay, so from orders, let's select order ID. We call this, I want to select orders dot order ID and orders dot order date. Let's see, and who orders, order customer name. Orders dot customer. Oh, okay, this customer name is not under orders, but rather under customers. So, okay, dot, what else? Customer ID, employee ID, order date. This is enough. Let's say, for example, order ID and order date from orders. Then from customers, customers dot, let's say the customer address. Let's say, for example, you work for Amazon and there is some order that came in. You want to get by combining the address of the customers who ordered and what they ordered, you want to ship it. So we get their address by like this. Customers, let's see what else. CD, and we put this in new lines. This one makes it tidy. Okay. And what else? Country probably is enough, and the customer name. Country and customer name. Now, if I run this, make sure you understand this. We'll do the same thing in DataWeave and compare them. Okay, so from orders, we are selecting order ID and order date. From customers, we are selecting address, CD, country, customer name. And this all is important. There is join from the first table, that's the table on the left, join with the table on the right on the joining key. Now let's run this. Run. Okay, show some events and unknown column customers order ID. Which one is it? Customers. Okay, let's see what are the columns under customers. Columns here are, oh yeah, it is customer ID, based on customer ID, not order ID. I want to combine them based on customer ID. See, this is customer ID here, customer ID here. So there is a smaller table that contains the customer's information, and the customers, they may have multiple orders over time. And when they put orders, the orders you want to put them in a separate table. You don't want to make it so big by adding the customer details again and again to the same table. Rather, the customer details, you put it in a smaller table and you combine them when you need the information. So now if I run this, so it gives me this, you see 196 rows here, and the bottom it says 196 rows. So this is how you do inner join in SQL. Practice that, go over the tutorials from the website. Now let's do the same thing using DataWeave join, the join function. So here, if we read the documentation for join, you give the left table, the left array, the inputs are arrays, the right array, and the criteria for joining. So how do we do that? Let's do that. How was that I created here? I will remove it and we can do it. Please closing. Close project. And okay. Rather than, yeah, this one, I will share this one. I will upload this one to GitHub, but let's create another one so that we can do it from scratch. I want to show you a couple of other things too. So DataWeave Class-7 version 2, I'm calling it. Okay. Yeah, right. Yeah. Okay. Please. Okay. Let me move this finish. I will show you a couple of other useful things also here, so please pay attention. Okay. So until this finishes, it seems it takes time. It will take time. From the core module, there is read URL. That function is important function. You will use it multiple times. Under these functions, there is a read URL. So you just give it a URL and it reads it. What's the format like here? Read URL. I think it is intuitive, descriptive. It reads data from a URL. You give it the URL, and you give it the data type. So when we are using a read function from the file module, we were specifying the MIME type, right? The same thing. We were specifying application JSON, application CSV, and so on. Here also with the read URL, you give it the URL and also the MIME type. If you go to this website, there is some data, and that is it, and it is JSON. If I bring it here and paste the URL here, this is JSON data. So it reads it from that URL. Not only from the internet, it can read also from the project itself. So for that, it is slightly different. How we do that is slightly different. Let me show you where was it? Read URL. Okay. If it is from the project itself, we use class paths. We use class paths, and the protocol is like this. See here, class paths. You just put class paths, then : then the path. This one is just what you put under source main resources. We are going to see. You put any data under source main resources, you give it a full path, then it reads it for you. It says here, my folder is located under source main resources. Let's see this. So, yep, it has created for me. Now, source main resources is here. And just I will create a folder and put data there, then use read URL to read them and join them. So right click here, new folder. I will call it W3 schools data. Okay, now I can just copy paste data to them. The W3 schools data, the CSV data, you can get it from the GitHub if you don't have it already. So we have this, let's copy them. I just select them all, right click, copy, go to the project here under this folder, right click the folder, paste, then the files will be saved there. You see, now I can expand and see all the files here. You can see them like the categories, for example. We're talking about orders and customers. Customers, right click it. And if you want to view it, open with text editor, for example. You see here, the data is here. So now let's do the joining. Okay, you drag and drop a transformer. You don't need to deploy it or run it in debug mode. Simply previewing is enough. So I will give this joining arrays, let's call it. And this one, we want to make it JSON. You have to remember when you use the array operations like map and so on, by the way, they work with JSON and Java. So if you face some error when you are performing some operation, if you get some error, make sure if the functions they are using support the input data. Okay, so now here I can create, let's create variables var customers. So here read URL, the read URL now comes here handy. Then it was class path ::, I'm putting it under W. So the class path takes me to source main resources. Class path is here. Now my data is under W3 schools, as you can see here. So I will put W3 schools. Then we want to read customers.csv. And we have to tell the data type. It is the MIME type. It is application CSV. Now I can copy paste this and modify it for orders. It's giving there is some error. Orders. Okay. So read URL class path / application CSV. Let me see. The minus absentee, where is the added function? Here, yeah. So class pass colon forward slash. Okay, sometimes let me restarting or let me see orders. Let's preview it. If I put orders here, perfect. So the data is here, as you can see. This orders data and customers also. This is the customers data. Now let's join them. Since we have read them in as variables, we can use the join function. So let's first import the join function. So we say to import it, I will use the first approach, import join from DW double colon core double colon arrays, like this. It is case sensitive, so I have to make this arrays A uppercase and add S also. Now I can put, let me show you. Join customers orders. How do I want to join them? Like for customers, I will take from customers. This is the syntax. Good. Let me make this in new line so that it becomes readable. From customers, I want to use customers dot customer ID. What's customer ID? Right here. Yeah, I have it here. So customer ID is what I want to use for join. From orders, let me make this in new lines. From orders also, the key is orders dot customer ID. Okay, perfect. Now it has joined it. Okay. In orders, the file name is orders. Did I put something else? Oh, I didn't change it. Oh yeah, yeah. Okay, perfect. So we can join like that. In SQL also here, by the way, you don't need, you can use aliasing rather than putting orders.customer ID is equals to customers.customer ID here. And here, for each column name, rather than prepending orders dot, you can just call orders A and customers, whatever you want shorter thing B. Now I want to join them on A.customer ID is equals to B.customer ID. Now orders here, I will replace it by A, and customers, I will replace it by B. This one also should work. And this is even better because you don't spend time typing the table name again and again. So if I run this also, it should work. We have the same thing under 96 records again. We have the same thing in DataWeave also. So in DataWeave, always this one refers to the first table. Whatever you call it, you can call it A or B. If I call it A here, then this one will be A.customer ID. This one corresponds to the second table, which is orders in this case. If you call it B, this one you make it orders.customer ID. Okay, but the other thing here that we have to pay attention is, so it gives you for each object from customers that has a match in the orders, it gives you like this. So you have this is one object, one joined object. Inside it, it has two objects. The left part, which came from orders, and the right part, which came from the left part from customers, from the first table, from the first array. L is left, and R is right. The same thing. So this is one object inside it containing two objects from the tables. We have another object left, right, another object left, right, and so on, left, right, you can see. Now this one, if you want to format it like the SQL approach, like this one, combine them like this, what we can do is we can define this as a variable. Let's see, define it as a variable and then extra. Like here, var, I will call this joined equals to like this. If I put this, now I should be there. Okay. If I put like this, now we have this, right? Now we can map this. Map, you can use map value index, let's say, then I have to see the column names, the field names. What are they? Okay, comment the. Oh, okay, this one has gone. Now it should show me. So from the left, I need customer ID. Let's copy paste them. So here I will come. What I will do is customer ID will be value dot L, because this object itself, the first object, it has two keys, left and right. The left key itself, it is an object with key value pairs. So when I do value.L, I get this object. I can tell you this here. I will get this object when I do value.L. When I do value.R, I will get this object. Then I can process it as I see it fit. So this one, let's copy paste it to avoid typos. This one also, let me copy paste the column names, customer name, and this come from the left. All of this come from the left table. CD, postal code, and country. And from the right, I have orders, order ID and order ID. I don't need customer ID because I will get it from here. I will just leave it. Employee ID. Let's I will show you why I'm copy pasting them, because if I uncomment it, I will not see the field names. And order date, shipper ID. Okay, perfect. Now we will see neat output. Now I will uncomment this. Uncomment this. Map value index. We have new line. Customer ID is value1.left.customer ID. Then we make this new line is 2. All of these are until country are from the left, starting from order ID are from the right. So I can just copy this part, value.L for all of them. Paste, 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 paste. Now order ID is from the right. R. Copy this also, all of it, including the colon. Paste, paste, paste. Now I have to add the key name under each object. It's the internal objects, left object or right object. These are the key names. CD. If there is some type of somewhere, it will give an error. And country. Now here from the right, order ID, employee ID. So this should also return 196 records because from the database it returned 196 records. Okay, let's see. Fingers crossed. I observed an error. Please. Perfect. Yeah, okay. Oh, country is a typo is country, I guess. Country is not in all of them. I see. Let me check it here. Country. Okay. How did I write it? Oh, yeah. Yeah, Sako key. Yeah, this is a key. Yeah, I mean, it should be spelled correctly, but it will not give an error. Okay, now you see this one object containing values from the left array and right array from the customers and the orders. This one also another one. This one also another one, and so on. If you export this result as JSON, you will get like a structure, data structure like this. Let me export it and show you. If you just get the output here, click Save As, then in the drop-down JSON, this is what we are doing, right? I will put it under Downloaders and call it TMP just to show you. And now if I go to Downloaders and open TMP with text editor, by default text editor, and bring it here. See, the outputs are the same. So you have this one, and here another one, and here another one. The reason that you have less fields here is because in the database here I specified only the columns I need. If I want all of them, I can. If you want all of them, you can just put a dot asterisk. That means everything from table A, comma, the columns you need from B, or B dot asterisk as well. Let's see the customer ID. Is it going to repeat? Yeah, so customer ID now we'll see 2 times. This one coming from A, this one coming from B. So in our data view code here, we removed only customer ID. We did it only once. We are getting this from the left. The rest we are including all of them. So as you can see, this is neat. This is how we do joining. So this is inner join. It gives you when there is common customer ID in this case in both tables. If you just want to get all the records from customers, whether they have orders or not, but if they have orders, add the orders also, you use left join. So for that, we do, I will comment this. Or else we can create, let's create another payload, or save it as a variable. Save it as a variable, second example, and I will call it left join. So you click here, and as a variable, we will see how to save it as file also. You can just import that, but now for now I will do it in line, and I will call it here left _ join. Okay, so in the drop down, you see we have the payload, we have the variable. This one also, I will change it to JSON, and I will copy the code from the inner join. So this is like the inner join or join, and paste it here, and we'll use left join now. One thing, when we import the code, we can just import left join like this, or we can also do, if we just do import asterisk from like this also, it will import all the functions, including left join. And here, so the left join documentation, we can consult the documentation here. It is under arrays, left join. See, when you have functions, when you create functions by combining multiple keywords, always the start of the next keyword is uppercase. But the first keyword is always lowercase. can see J is uppercase here. That helps you to remember it. Okay, so see here also it is the same thing. The criteria is the same. The only thing is always it gives you every record from the left. Some records from the left, they may not have a match. See this one, for example. See this one? It has L object, key value. There is this L, but there is no R. There is no right. Here there is left, right. Here there is left, right. Whereas here we have just left only. The same thing. Yeah. Here also we have just left only. So let's see that. Here I can use left join and comment this. I will show you what join looks like. So there could be customers which don't have orders. Let's see that. If I do this, I will finish in the next 10 or so minutes. Okay. See this one, there is left, but not right. Whereas here we have left and right. The same thing, left here, left and right, and so on. Okay. Oh yeah, I will finish in 5 minutes then. Okay, so the same thing. Let's make this tidy also. You will see if there is no R object, that means that if there is a match from the right table, it will be null. So if I uncomment this, show you here. See now. You see now we have, so this null means there was no match, not a value. So this object, customer ID 1, they don't have any order associated with them. 2, they have order before. 3 also, for all of these have orders. Let's see, is it only one ID? There is also 1 here, we didn't order at all. 1 also here, and so on. So this is, we saw inner join and left join, and also reading data, and also if you want to using map the joins to process it further. If you want to use the right join, simply reverse the order, but still use left join in DataWeave. But in SQL, you can use right join. There is outer join. Outer join, it gives you every combination, whether there is there is match or not, it gives you values from both records. So it is like union. Outer join is union. The inner join is intersection. Whereas left join means it returns from the first, whether they have matches or not from the second. So I think this is enough. You can read. The exercise I have for you is, we will, as usual, we are going to have more exercises on this. It is very important. Practice SQL also. It is good skill. Make sure you understand it. SQL is almost a must-have in IT, generally, almost every IT field. And also here, it helps you to study the DataWeave equivalent of the SQL here by reading from here. So the exercise I have for you is read outer join and what the differences. So one thing I want to check here is the results. Did we get the same result, the same number of records? Here we got 196 records, right? Did we get 196 in DataWeave also? Let's check that. So I'm using, as you can see here, I'm using inner join. So I want to check the size of the payload in here, because it is in the payload that we have join, whereas the variable is left join. So I have this joined. I can comment this out. And here also, remove this. Then size of joint. Yep, 196. And the records here also, let me move this so that you can see in here, we have 196 records. Okay. Yeah, that is a good point, Asquan. One thing, joining is not necessarily easier in SQL, I think. Even in DataWeave is also easy. Once you get used to it, it is easy. The second thing is it depends on the data I have. The data may not, the source of the data is not necessarily from databases. Or you may have databases that don't communicate with each other. One is from company X, one is from company Y. So you have to get them and join them in any point. Yeah, but that's a good question. Cool, perfect. Yeah, I think I will take more questions. I will take more questions tomorrow. We have a meeting now. So this is enough for today. See you tomorrow. Please practice. This is really nice, nice skill. Make sure you understand it. And if you have questions, also ask. Try to create study groups of 2 or 3 even, and make sure you master it. But this is all for today, and see you tomorrow.